from Dazn Boxing Nation.
I think he's gonna put on a beautiful performance, but he knows what he got to do. He's not gonna.
With
look
all due
over.
respect, why do you feel like I need to look exciting or whatever the case may be? Why not just make it happen for all the belts, no matter what?
Oh no, we're gonna do that.
Good. That's
Long as
If it gotta
as
make
long as
sense.
it makes sense.
No, of course.
And I know you already said you come to Charlotte. So that's beautiful because
I'll fight you on Jupiter if I got to.
Hey.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? So when it comes to negotiations for the Kambosos versus Devin Haney fight for Undisputed, developments are changing almost every day. It seems like the situation is changing on a day-to-day basis. The last video I made about this, I told you guys that there was great news because Devin Haney and Eddie Hearn, they met up in New York to have a meeting about this fight. After the meeting, Devin Haney, he went to one of his social media accounts and he said that the meeting went really well. But when I reported that news, I didn't know that the meeting didn't include Team Kambosos. I didn't know it was just a meeting of Devin Haney and Eddie Hearn. Or at least I didn't know that Team Kambosos was a no-show. Now we fast forward to present day. As you guys seen in that clip that I played for you at the beginning of this video, you could clearly hear Kambosos saying that the fight has to be in Australia. That's one of his main demands. And you heard Devin Haney come back and say, man, I will fight you on Jupiter. Now, according to reports, because there will be less money made in Australia for both fighters, Devin Haney's father and trainer says that George Kambosos is not getting too much support from Australia to even host the fight in the country. Matter of fact, let me quote exactly what Bill Haney said. I don't believe there's any audio for this interview, so I'm gonna go ahead and quote the transcript. Bill Haney said, and I quote, "The pandemic forced Australia to be on a 50% lockdown, which I can only say that's one of the reasons why the fight isn't getting as much support for the fight being there as they initially thought." So according to Bill Haney, Kambosos, he thought that he was going to get this huge reception from the government in Australia, and that's not the way things are playing out. Bill Haney, he continues by saying that we have football stadiums that are sold out here. I think in the US, we've gotten control of that evil disease, COVID. You see stadiums sold out. What I'm saying is let's stop the hold up. Let's stop creating the narrative that the fight can only happen in Australia. Let's open it up, and let's open up the talks that the fight can happen anywhere in the world. It's whoever brings the most money. Don't you think so? So George Kambosos, he responds, and naturally, not to too many people's surprise, he brings up the fact that Devin Haney told him, I would go to Jupiter to fight you if I have to. George, he said on one of his social media accounts, but the boy said, I'll go to Jupiter. Newsflash, mate, our stadiums are open at full capacity. Full international travel starts next month. So bring all your mates. I have not seen one offer with a dollar amount. But you send a contract? Dazn got no money for you. Ouch. End quote. Let me just start by saying this. This whole situation is starting to look and sound a lot like the Teofimo situation when Devin was trying to get that fight. But the big difference is George Kambosos, he told Devin Haney pretty much from the beginning that the fight had to be in Australia. Teo, on the other hand, he was using the Australia location as a justification for fighting a guy that he thought was going to be an easy cherry pick. Not only did the cherry pick backfire on Teofimo Lopez, but the fight never took place in Australia, and Teofimo, he ended up making less than half of the amount of money he would have made if he would have just fought Devin Haney. I mean, if Teofimo Lopez, if he was going to sell his belts, he could have at least sold his belts to the highest bidder. And by the way, when Kambosos says that Dazn got no money for Devin Haney, we know that Kambosos is trolling when he says that, because if that was the case, he wouldn't still be negotiating with Devin Haney. George Kambosos wouldn't be here wasting his time with a fighter who can't put up any money for the fight. Now let's talk about this whole Australia situation. If George Kambosos is willing to make less money to fight in his own backyard, then I believe Devin Haney should call his bluff and fight him in Australia. Because whatever you lose, no matter how much money you lose in this fight, the winner of this fight is going to be worth way more. than they've ever gotten paid before. For example, if Devin Haney were to win this fight, Devin is already getting paid $3 million a fight. Can you guys imagine a fighter who's already expected to be the next Floyd Mayweather, or at least the next top 3, even #1 pound for pound fighter in the world? If Devin Haney continues to win, in the next couple of years, Devin Haney may be looking at a guarantee of $10 million every time he fights, maybe even more than that. The bigger the win, the bigger the payday. And the reason why I use Devin Haney as an example of winning this fight, not only because he's the favorite, but also because he's the one that's going to most likely have to make the sacrifice of fighting in George Kambosos' backyard, because George has been talking about fighting in Australia ever since he went to Devin Haney's last fight and talked to Devin Haney face to face. Now, when it comes to Devin Haney, once again, if he wins this fight, the sacrifices he made just to make this fight come to fruition will be highly rewarded in every aspect, because he'll be making so much money in the future. And we already know when it comes to George Kambosos, he'll get the Tyson Fury beating Deontay Wilder type of treatment, and we already know why. But the difference from Deontay Wilder is if Kambosos were to beat Devin Haney, he would be beating one of the most skilled fighters in America. Tyson Fury, he beat the least skilled fighter in America. So I'll close out with saying this. The good news is it seems that George Kambosos is more interested in serious negotiations with Devin Haney than Lomachenko. And that's because of the simple fact that Bob Arum cannot offer George Kambosos the type of money that Dazn will offer Kambosos for this fight. I had already told you guys long time ago, when there were first talks of Devin Haney versus George Kambosos, that it would be very hard for Kambosos to justify taking the Lomachenko fight over Devin Haney, because the Devin Haney fight offers everything. It offers a much bigger payday, and it offers an opportunity to become undisputed. And for George Kambosos, it's a win-win situation, because even if he loses this fight, he is going to go into this fight as the underdog. And there's still going to be a lot of big names out there that George Kambosos could fight and would be good enough to beat if he were to lose to Devin Haney. So with that being said, I'll keep you guys updated on this situation. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
My name is Chris, and I'm all the way here from Anchorage, Alaska at Scalp Carolinas, and I'm here for my second treatment of SMP. Well, I was sitting at home one day and going over my Facebook page, and they have different, like advertisements popping up, and I saw one for SMP, and I saw some pictures of some guys, a before and after, and I was looking at that, and it caught my attention. So I Googled it, SMP. Nothing showed up in my area. So, I did a little more research, and all of a sudden, Scalp Carolinas popped up in the web browser. So I started watching his videos and seeing all the reaction from all the other people. We talked on the phone, we made appointments and everything. I sent him pictures, and he looked at them, and I was like, can you fix this? And he pretty much said, no problem. My first session, he made me feel extremely comfortable. It was almost like I was talking to family. He started, and during the whole treatment, we talked and about our families and our life, and and things that he does and things that I do. And before I know it, the first session was over. When you see someone doing something that they love, as much as I see Enoch Glover love what he does, it shows in his work. I wouldn't point anyone in any other direction but here to North Carolina, Scalp Carolinas, to get this done.
All right, now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elo Diki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodiki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.